Right, hopefully the fan isn't too loud. It's just kind of borderline hot. It's just like not hot enough to turn the air on, but not cool enough to not have the fan on, if that makes any sense. So I was supposed to work today, but it was super dead, so I asked if I could leave early, because like I never get to leave early when other people do, like all the time. So I was able to go home, which I'm super happy about. I mean, yeah, I like making money, but if it's dead, I don't make money anyway, so I'd rather just be at home, especially after the way work's been lately. So anyway, I wanted to do this video. It's probably like the 5th time I've tried to do a video like this, but this time I actually wrote everything down, which, you know, I should be doing. It's just, honestly, when I when I do videos, it's usually spur of the moment, because sometimes I just don't really feel like doing them because of different reasons. But yeah, so like when I just happen to want to do it or whatever, I usually don't have it organized. What I might start doing from now on is like writing everything down and then filming when I want to film or whatever. Which is kind of what I'm doing now. But anyway, sorry, I always make everything super long-winded, but I'm going to do this thing, I don't know what really to title it, but it's basically like random symptoms of abductees. Now, I'm not saying that I'm an abductee or anything, because I don't know. Like, I don't have any memory of it, so it's not like I can say like 100% I have been. I mean, there have been things that have happened to me that might suggest that could have happened. I don't really know. If I have been, I don't want to remember, because usually when you forget something, like, there's two kind of explanations, I guess, for why you might not remember. One is that it was purposely done to you to make you forget or suppress the memory, whatever. Second is that it's too traumatic, so your subconscious blocks it out of your regular, or your conscious blocks it out, basically, because it's just too traumatic that your mind can't handle it, so it just kind of buries it. So either way, I'm not really supposed to remember, so I'm not going to do like hypnosis or anything to remember something that obviously I don't want to remember. But anyway, these are just random. There's big lists. I'll put a couple links below if I remember, but if you Google alien abductee symptoms, you know, the first couple websites that come up, they're kind of like a combination of those lists. A lot of them are the same, and some of them might not mean anything. Some of them are kind of vague, so any normal person probably has experienced some of these things, but I will say that the sheer volume of things that I have in common are kind of weird. I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of off-putting, but it is what it is. But anyway, I will just list them. The first one, and it's kind of just, I don't know a lot of people with this phobia or fear, but open windows at night. I hate it. I can't do it. Like, I live with people. I live in a kind of big house, not like a mansion or anything, but it's got a lot of rooms to it, and I live upstairs, like in the attic portion, and there's a bathroom up here, and it's like on the 2nd floor, or what would be considered a 2nd floor of like an apartment or something like that. It's like around the same height as that, and even though I'm on the 2nd floor, and more than likely no one's gonna see me up there, and at night, I mean, there's usually not people around, you know, as late as I'm up, but neither here nor there, I always have to have the window closed, like the blinds down or whatever. It's not so much the window being open or closed, it's just like it has to be covered. And it doesn't matter what window it is. We have another window that faces the opposite side of the house, that's kind of like in the hallway section of the upstairs. That always has to be, you know, shut, or, you know, covered, I guess is the better term. If I'm like in the hallway or anything like that, it's got to be covered. The window in my room is always covered. That's mainly because I like my room to be relatively dim. Like, I don't like bright lights. And just the position of my room, like, it gets direct sunlight a lot, and it just, like, gets right in my eyes. It's just, I don't know, I don't like it. But yeah, I have just, like, this weird thing, like, I can't even see a crack of the window. Like, it has to be completely covered at night. Like, during the day, I don't really care. Like, it doesn't bother me at all. But it's just, like, when it gets dark out, I hate it. And it's just, like, this irrational fear that I'm gonna look and there's gonna be eyes peering back at me. And it just, like, creeps me out, like, to no end. That's one of the symptoms that it lists in one of the things, which is kind of random. I mean, like I said, I don't think a lot of people have that fear, at least none that I've met. Blood, which, like, anytime I have to get my blood taken, I hate it. And it's not the fact that it hurts, because a lot of people have, like, this fear of needles, which is pretty common. I don't have a fear of needles. Like, seeing it doesn't bother me. But, like, if I have to get a shot or whatever, it doesn't really bother me. But, like, when I have to get my blood taken, I hate it. Like, just the sight of seeing blood taken from my body creeps me out. Like, I don't like it. Any kind of, like, tubes coming out of me. Like, I had to have a procedure done because I was having bladder issues. I had to have a procedure done that tests the capacity of your bladder. And, like, I had to stop because it was giving me a panic attack, and I just couldn't do it. Just, like, seeing the tubes coming out of me. Which, like I said, it might be normal. I don't really know. Another weird fear that's really strange is, like, I don't like maps. Specifically maps with water. Like, big bodies of water especially. It creeps me out. Like, I actually have nightmares about it. Like, mainly globes in particular creep me out, or anything like it. But, like, I don't know, like, I hate it. Like, I've had dreams about, like, being really, really high up, and then just, like, falling towards the earth. And it's never, like, I never really see the earth, like, as a ball. It's more of, like, kind of like a domed, so I'm not, like, super far out, but, like, far out enough to see, like, continents, like, the shape of them, and then getting closer and closer and closer, and I'm always falling into water, and I hate it. Like, I don't like the ocean to begin with, even though it's pretty and everything. Like, it scares the shit out of me. Another thing is, I guess it's very common with abductees or whatever, that they have to sleep with a fan on, and, like, you can probably hear the fan in the background, but I have to sleep with a fan on all year round. It doesn't matter whether it's super cold or not. I have to have it on. It's because of the sound. And, you know, the movement of air is nice, but it's mainly the sound. I've tried to sleep with, like, white noise generators or whatever, and I don't know, it's just not the same. But I have to sleep with it on, and my brother's the same way. And I just kind of thought about it. It's kind of weird. Me and my brother are the only ones out of my family that do that. Like, my mom doesn't do it, my dad, my stepmom, nor my sister. Like, it's just me and my brother. Trouble sleeping at night. I've always had trouble sleeping as far back as I can remember, which was probably, like, around 10. I don't remember if prior to that I had as many issues sleeping as I do, or as I did from 10 till now. But I have a lot of trouble falling asleep, and it's actually gotten worse as I've gotten older. And now it's to the point where I can only sleep, like, maybe 4 hours at a time, sometimes not even that, before waking up, and then I'll be up a few hours, and then fall asleep again for maybe a couple hours. And I'm not really sure why. It doesn't seem like anything I do helps it, whether I exercise or don't, whether I take melatonin, which is a natural sleep aid, or something like over the counter. I've even tried prescription, not anything strong, because I have a weird reaction to prescription medication. That kind of ties back to my anxiety video that I did a while back about my antidepressant experience, I guess. I don't know if I still have it up, but if I do, it explains why I can't really take a lot of prescription medications. But yeah, so I don't know, it doesn't really seem to matter what I do, like warm milk, tea, a bath. It doesn't really matter. The weird thing is like during the day, if for whatever reason I have to sleep during the day, I don't have issues. It's just usually at night when most people should be sleeping. Phobia of surgery or medical tables, like any kind of medical table, whether it's just like at the regular doctor's office, that little thing that they sit you on as they're like, you know, looking in your ears and all that. I don't remember what those are called, but I don't like it, which I think is pretty common. But I don't know, I have this really weird thing about surgery, like, I don't know, like a lot of people get, well, I don't want to say a lot of people, but like people talk about getting cosmetic surgery, you know, various things. Like I would never do that unless it was something like drastic, like if I was in a car accident and they had to do reconstructive surgery or anything. That's the only really time I think that, you know, personally, just like my personal beliefs, that you should get cosmetic surgery. Like these people that get nose jobs and everything, it's just, unless it's like a deformity, I don't really think it should be done. But that's just my personal thing. Lower body temperature. And while I remember this, it's really strange because I'm really into paranormal stuff, so I read a lot about just various things. And there's like this list of things that vampires are supposed to have, like vampire attributes or whatever you want to call it. And a lot of these are in common with this, which is kind of weird, like sensitivity to light, lower body temperature. I think the blood taking thing is in there. I don't know, just a couple of these things that are kind of random correlate to that, so I thought that was interesting. But the lower body temperature, I've always had like a slightly lower body temperature than most people. It's usually around a 97, sometimes even lower. I think the lowest it's ever been was like 96.5. I actually thought it was something wrong with the thermometer, but it wasn't. And sensitivity to light, sounds, and foods. Again, I mentioned that, you know, I have the lights on now only because I just got home and, you know, I'm filming or whatever, but generally I have just like the one regular lamp on. Like I don't really like overhead lighting, just gives me a headache and I don't like it. And then sounds is like really bad, especially like random sounds, like clicking or people eating or shuffling feet. Like everything just sounds so loud to me, and it's really annoying. And then foods, like everything bothers me. Like there's so many foods that I can't eat because it just messes with my stomach. And even, like, I don't know, like my diet would have to be very, very, very restricted for me not to have some kind of stomach issue, which sucks, but whatever. Fibromyalgia symptoms, which if you don't know what that is, it's basically when your nerves are overactive, and the symptoms of that are too long to list, but I do have a lot of those symptoms, and so does my brother, and so does my grandmother. And that was diagnosed by a doctor in both my brother and my grandmother's cases, so it's not like they were just being paranoid or whatever. Like it was clinically diagnosed. Being watched, the feeling of being watched, especially at night, I have pretty much all the time. I just kind of try to ignore it, because if I dwell on it, it just makes it worse, and it sometimes triggers a panic attack, which I get every now and then, but usually it's not that bad. Seeing a UFO, I've seen one once. I did a video on it, and yeah. Insomnia, I guess that's kind of the same as trouble sleeping at night, but a little bit more severe. Unrealistic fears, just like I said, I mean, I've listed some of them. It's just like kind of like too long to list. Fog or haze where it shouldn't be. This was interesting because if you remember in my McGregor video, I talked about how there was that strange fog within the house and it was in the daytime and everything. And that is really weird, because that's where I saw that thing in the window that was like walking across on my porch. That was like the first, well, I guess it wasn't technically the first time, but it was around the same time as the other kind of alien related stuff was happening. The only thing that didn't happen alien related near that time was when I saw the UFO, which was when I was 16. But yeah, that was really strange and creeps me out. Back and neck problems, especially like when you wake up with neck or back problems, but I think that kind of like more goes along the lines of my sleeping issues. If you don't get proper sleep, of course your muscles and everything aren't gonna feel the greatest, and I also sleep really weirdly, like strangely, and I never feel comfortable. Like I literally have like probably 6 different pillows, and for whatever reason I usually have to like change them up every now and then. Not really sure why, but it's just an ongoing issue. Ringing in ears, headache behind one, or I think it's really just one eye or whatever, but again, that might be completely unrelated. It's just the things that were listed. Electronic malfunction. Now with this, it's not like in the movies where like if I go around stuff, it just like starts turning on or whatever. It's nothing as dramatic as that, but I do have a lot of issues with electronics. Like, this is like my 4th laptop, I want to say, just within like the maybe last 3 years. And it doesn't help that out of the 4, only 2 were new. So, you know, when you buy used things, sometimes it just doesn't last that long. But like phones, like cell phones, I have a lot of issues with those. Just random stuff that doesn't happen to normal people tends to happen to me, which is just weird. Relationship issues, difficulty trusting. Again, I think that's more so like my childhood and just relationships that I've witnessed. I think it's more about that than something paranormal, but it's what was listed. Dreams of catastrophic events. I have a really active, weird imagination, so, and then, you know, I do a lot of paranormal research and watching weird programs, so it probably has more to do with that than anything else, but again, it's listed. Sleep against the wall. This was kind of weird too, because again, out of everyone in the house, the only people that sleep against the wall are me and my brother. My parents don't sleep against the wall, my sister doesn't sleep against the wall. It's just kind of strange. And meaning against the wall, not like the headboard, like we're talking like either your left or right side, totally against the wall. Seeing figures in black or hooded cloaks. And I did mention in a couple videos, a couple different times I've seen figures in black. One at my aunt's house that was accompanied by either me sleepwalking or my aunt seeing somebody that looked like me standing above her when she was sleeping, just staring at her. That's really creepy. And then a couple other times that I've mentioned various places. One of which my friend caught on her cell phone that I don't have the picture of anymore. Fear of eyes, whether it be animal eyes, just eyes in general. I don't know, they kind of creep me out. Compelled to drive or walk to isolated or unknown areas just randomly. I used to have this a lot, which is why me and my friend would go to Helltown so much. There was also, and this is going to sound probably bad, but whatever, we used to drive past this mental hospital because, I don't know, like it was like isolated kind of in the middle of nowhere in like this wooded area. It was just really creepy. Not really so much the mental hospital, just like the surrounding area was creepy. And then like we drive like through, like there was like this parking lot that kind of like went around the facility. We would drive around it. I used to have video of it, but I don't even know if I could like legitimately post it anyway. And yeah, so I don't know. But we do that a lot, especially always at night. But I do get the compulsion a lot now, but considering that I would go alone, I don't know, I just don't feel safe. I don't want to get stranded somewhere, and I don't know, it's just not really safe. Nasal problems. I usually almost always feel stuffy in my nose, and that's why, like, I feel like I sound congested right now. And that's why. And I have this weird thing where it's hard for me to breathe through my nose when I'm talking, and from what I've heard of other people, like, it's not really common. I always thought that was just the way it was. Like if I talk a lot, I get winded only because I'm not breathing through my nose, and I don't know, it's just really weird. And then afraid of the closet. And I guess this isn't that uncommon, but like closets as a kid, especially ever since living in that one house where I saw the light coming from underneath the. It wasn't a closet, but it looked like a closet. It was just a door that led to the attic. But ever since really then is when that fear pretty much started. Because I guess prior to that we didn't really have closets anyway, because when we lived in the first apartment that we ever lived in Parma, we didn't really have closets because it was just, at least I don't remember that we did. It was just a very, very small apartment, probably like 400 to 600 square feet. I'm not really big with like measurements, but it was really small. And that's pretty much it. Like I said, I'm not saying that these symptoms or whatever mean anything. It's just like some of them are really random, and just the fact that they all kind of correlate together is just kind of weird. But like I said, you can go through the list yourself, and I'm sure you'll find at least a couple that you have in common. It's just when you have like almost every single one of them in common, that's when it kind of gets weird. But yeah, if you have any questions or anything, put them below.